So banks are crumbling one by one and the news is going crazy. But here's why I don't give a damn. One word: real estate. Here's the best way to explain the personal relationship between banks, real estate, and your personal wealth. Firstly, let's get something straight. You don't own a bank. When a bank collapses, that's not what hurts you. It's the underlying currency that can hurt you. When currencies lose value, your purchasing power is less, which means purchasing goods and services that you used to buy will cost more. And the more cash you stow away, the more you're gonna get screwed. Here's how, I'll explain. Now, when the banks are in trouble, it's like the wild, wild west of finance. People are running around freaking out with their heads cut off, and you definitely don't want to be caught in the crossfire. Imagine going to a burger joint and ordering your regular meal. You get the bill and it's twice the price. Now you ask the cashier, what the hell? And she says, sorry dude, your currency has lost value. You gotta pay more for that burger fix now. You might feel trapped in some fast food burger nightmare where prices just keep going up and up and up. Suddenly you're flipping over couch cushions, scrambling just to find a few more coins just to get a decent meal. It's like a cruel game of hide and seek with your own money.
Where's my money, bitch? I ain't gonna keep asking nice.
So if you want to avoid this nightmare, it's a good idea to keep an eye on the currency, and more important, should be investing in solid assets like real estate or maybe gold or something. Real estate is like Chuck Norris. It's not afraid of inflation. Inflation is afraid of it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Wonder.
You see, real estate, unlike other investments, doesn't shrink or disappear when the market is feeling a little down. The physical space remains the same no matter what the economy is doing. The only thing bigger than the banks is the government. The government protects you. So essentially, getting a fixed rate mortgage is like having a seatbelt on before driving down a bumpy road. You might not need it right away, but you'll be glad you have it down the road. This is what I mean. A fixed rate mortgage means the interest payment doesn't change on the mortgage. This provides stability and predictability. You can count on your payments staying the exact same no matter what's going on in the market. So for me, for my long-term stuff, I typically like to be boring and easy peasy. So I'm putting those mortgages in a fixed rate mortgage. It's just predictable, it's easy no matter what happens with the economy. I know exactly what that payment's gonna be. However, on the flip side, when we're doing our flips, they are much more risky and we're taking cash purchases or we're doing private money. So that's much more expensive. But again, it is also more of a fixed rate. Sure, the housing market might be slow, but it's still providing shelter and a place to call home for its occupants. Look at the home your parents bought back in like 1988 for probably like $105,000. Now, that same home today, probably without like any renovations, is now worth $800,000 to $1 million. That's 800% or more just in the last 35 years.
This real estate market, I believe, is about to open up to the greatest opportunity of my entire lifetime.
But do you think the average American salary has gone up also 800% or more for doing the exact same job back then as of today? The factual answer is no. This loss in purchasing power is especially hard on middle-class Americans whose income hasn't kept up with the rising cost of food, healthcare, shelter, and everything else. So banks are often seen as the guardians of the economy, providing loans and financing to help people achieve their financial goals. However, the reality is that banks tend to favor investors over the average Joe. Banks love investors more than a fat kid loves cake. They'll do anything they can to get their hands on that sweet, sweet profit. But when it comes to the average Joe, they view him as a high-risk investment. Kind of like that one friend that borrows money from you and says they'll pay you back, but actually never ends up doing it. For example, let's say the average person makes $50,000 a year and an average inflation of 5% a year. If the inflation rate stays constant at 5% a year, the same goods and services that cost, let's say, $50,000 next year will be $52,500, and so on and so on and so on. A marginal increase. But if this person's purchasing power doesn't increase by 5% as well every year, usually in the form of a raise, their purchasing power actually gets less and less and less every year for all the things that they need. Now, it gets even worse. This is especially harmful for people on fixed incomes, such as people on retired pensions. Their income stays the exact same every year, but everything keeps costing more. On the other hand, real estate can usually be a great hedge against inflation because it also increases every single year and usually much faster than the typical rate of inflation. So real estate investors like myself usually see their properties appreciate faster than inflation, thus our wealth grows and grows and grows every single year using the compound growth effect. they're more savvy about business, they're probably more wealthy, and getting that money back is much more likely. A perfect example I can give of this is myself on our flips, working with private individuals or private banks. They love to lend to me over and over again because we do make the money, but we also pay them back every single time. They get that I'm also a business person. They give me way better terms because we have a working relationship rather than just a one-off purchase to buy a typical single family house. And this in essence is how the rich get richer and richer because they get more preferential treatment, better deals over the average home buyer. However, don't despair, dear average Joe. There are ways to improve your chances and improve your credit score to eventually get better treatment from the banks. The thing I love most about real estate is that you can make money so many different ways. You can flip houses, you can do long-term rental properties, you can do Airbnbs, you can do multifamily, you can do student properties. I've made money in real estate so many different ways. One of the main things we do is flipping houses and doing Airbnb properties in Southwest Florida. Those are our two kind of main strategies, but I've done it all. There's no ceiling to what you can do or to how much money you can make, unlike a job working for your shitty, stinky boss.
You're fired.
Now, this is a perfect example, even though the Canadian dollar has less and less purchasing power every single year for my Canadian followers who maybe have had properties in Vancouver or downtown Toronto and just held those properties for 5, 10, 15 years, and they got extremely wealthy for doing absolutely nothing, but real estate investors just keep getting richer and richer and richer. Now, all of that being said, real estate isn't immune to market fluctuations. The values of these properties can also decrease in times of recession, times of oversupply, or what we're seeing right now with giant interest rate hikes.
Interest rates.
Higher interest rates.
In addition to that, real estate also comes with some pretty expensive costs like property taxes, mortgage payments, repairs, etc. So it's not a straight uptrend to automatic wealth. Also, the more real estate investing deals that you do, the more the laws of probability are gonna get you. Eventually, you are gonna lose money. Every great real estate investor does. For example, over this past year with all of these interest rate hikes smashing down the need to buy a house or the wanting to buy a house, values have dropped. Flipping is our main business. And in this past year, with people don't really want to buy houses with these crazy expensive mortgage payments. So values have dropped and we got smacked on a couple of our flips. We got punched in the head a little bit. We lost about a couple $100,000 on a couple of deals. Bruh. However, that being said, in that year of 2022, we made well over $2 million in flips. So yeah, we lost a couple $100,000. Overall, we made it out alive while a bunch of other real estate investors, especially newbie real estate investors, went bankrupt and are probably never coming back. We keep pressing forward, we keep investing, we keep tried and true to our fundamentals, and you will still make a ton of money if you know exactly what you're doing. All right, so I threw a lot at you in this video, but if you're interested on how to elevate your status with the banks, elevate your wealth, elevate your business, and ultimately elevate your life, check out all the links below. I have a free newsletter for you guys to jump on, private videos that I would never upload on Instagram and YouTube, so you're getting the real, raw me, and especially check out the Fruitful Insiders Club, where you can ask me any questions you want in the private Facebook group as well. It is crazy. I'll see you inside any one of those.